Amazing revelation. Daughter hides camera, uncovers dad's heartwarming surprise for mom's birthday. Emma's heart raced with excitement as she crouched behind the living room couch, the tiny camera nestled in her hands. The clock ticked loudly, a reminder that her secret operation was underway. She could hear her father, Jack, thudding through the front door, the weight of a long shift evident in his weary footsteps. He didn't know she was filming. He didn't know she had a plan. She was determined to uncover what he was hiding. The way his brow furrowed, the way he kept glancing at Lisa's birthday cake stuffed pantry, it all stirred her curious heart. The financial struggles loomed heavy in their suburban home, casting shadows even on the sunniest of days. Yet Jack was still cheerful, his resilience a flickering flame against the winds of hardship. As the camera whirred quietly, Emma watched Jack cringe slightly as he stretched his arms, his face a mix of exhaustion and determination. He dove into low whispers about surprise and party, and her heart burst with hope. For a moment, the thick fog of tension that lingered in their family lifted, revealing the man she admired, dedicated, hardworking, and perhaps hiding something beautiful for our mother. Emma's mind whirred with thoughts of love and sacrifice, unaware of the storm brewing within her parents' hearts. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As days bled into each other, Emma felt the excited buzz settle under a thick blanket of worry. Slivers of tension snaked between Jack and Lisa, silent battles that felt impossible to understand. Hercules could lift mountains, but even he would struggle with the weight of a family's financial burden. Finding out about the surprise party had invigorated Emma's spirits, but also made her keenly aware of the cracks in her parents' relationship. Her young heart brimming with love, she decided some help from the neighborhood could lighten the load. Over whispers and laughter, the neighborhoods rallied around, bringing casseroles and cheerful condiments, and the more they gathered, the more Jack's smile flickered like distant fireworks against a backdrop of dark clouds. As the party day approached, the air crackled with excitement, yet within four walls, a storm brewed. Then disaster struck. A sudden emergency, an unexpected repair bill for the old car that Jack needed, hammered through their fragile bubble. Emma felt the shattering sound echo loudly in her chest, sensing that hope could slip from their grasp. As Jack stood with his face pale, emotions ebbing and flowing between determination and despair, Emma clutched the camera tighter, tears brimming in her eyes. What if he couldn't do it? What if this reveal tore the family apart rather than pulling them together? In that moment, standing on the edge of joy and pain, she knew a decision lay before them all. As the camera captured every heartbeat, every gasp for breath, Emma held her breath too. Would this surprise party bind them closer, or unravel their family threads further? The days leading up to Lisa's birthday felt like an emotional roller coaster for Emma. She tried to stay optimistic, but the weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on her chest. Jack urged her to keep quiet about the party plans, but Emma could sense that small flicker of hope growing dim. One evening, after dinner, an unexpected moment unfolded. Jack was on his phone, pacing the living room. "I'll figure it out," he mumbled, gripping the device tightly. The desperation in his voice crept into Emma's soul. She wrestled with the urge to confront him, to wrap him in a hug and tell him it would be all right, but she knew he needed to find his own path. The next day, while Jack was out running errands, Emma gathered her older brother Tyler for a secret meeting. "We need to help Dad," she whispered, her eyes bright with determination. Tyler looked skeptical. "How? Money isn't just going to appear." "I don't know, but we have to try. Mom deserves to be happy," she said, a hint of urgency in her voice. It felt like a plan, just not a fully formed one. Tyler sighed, his boyish charm shadowed by the seriousness of their situation. Finally, he nodded. "Okay, what do you have in mind?" As the two siblings brainstormed, the clock seemed to creep forward, each tick testifying to their urgency. They decided a garage sale could help raise some cash. With a mixture of grumbling and laughter, they pulled everything together, old clothes, dusty toys, and trinkets that had long been forgotten. They enlisted their friends from the neighborhood, hoping to squeeze out a couple extra dollars. On the morning of the sale, excited chatter filled the air, punctuated by the occasional honk from passing cars. Emma felt her heart soar as they watched neighbors arrive, their eyes lighting up at the sight of the endless table of goods. Every dime helps, she thought, her spirits lifting with each sale. Yet every cheerful face in the crowd was a stark reminder of the storm brewing at home. As the sun began to set, they had managed to raise a decent sum, but Emma couldn't shake the knot in her stomach. Would it be enough?
Later that night, Jack returned, his shoulders slightly slumped but a small smile etched on his face. "Hey, what did you two get up to?" he asked, noticing the pile of cash on the kitchen table.
Emma and Tyler exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. "Just a little something for Mom," Emma replied, holding the money in her palm like a fragile promise. The evening progressed, and as the two boys animatedly recounted their day, Jack's relief visibly washed over him. But when the laughter faded, the lingering worry returned, knitting the air with tension once more. Emma felt torn, acutely aware of the fine line her family was walking between joy and despair. Finally, she couldn't hold back anymore. "Dad," she said softly, the words trembling on her lips, "what if the party doesn't fix everything? I mean, what if it makes things worse?" Jack paused, his eyes narrowing. "Emma, I've been wondering that too," he admitted. It was a crack in his armor, revealing the vulnerability he typically kept hidden. "Then why are we doing it?" Emma asked, her voice wavering. Before Jack could respond, the doorbell rang, cutting through the heavy silence, a sudden presence at the threshold. His eyes met Emma's, uncertainty flickering in the air like a candle's flame. Who could it be? And would they bring with them the answers everyone desperately needed? Emma's heart raced as Jack glanced toward the door, uncertainty pooling in his eyes. The sudden sound shattered the fragile moment they were sharing, and she could feel a mix of hope and trepidation churning in her stomach. Who could it be? "Should I get it?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack nodded, still locked in his own thoughts, a flicker of concern painting his features. She took a deep breath and walked cautiously to the door, her hand trembling slightly on the doorknob. When she swung it open, her breath caught in her throat. Standing there was Ava, their neighbor and Lisa's best friend. A beaming smile illuminated her face, but Emma noticed something peculiar. Ava clutched a vibrant bouquet of flowers tightly against her chest. "Hey, Emma, is your mom home?" she chirped, her voice bursting with energy. Yeah? Come in." Emma stepped aside, let the girl in, but her mind spun with questions. Why the flowers? Was this just a friendly visit, or was there something more? Ava noticed the awkward tension in the room as she entered, the remnants of worry lingering in Emma's and Jack's expressions. "Is it okay if I surprise your mom now?" she asked, her eyes shining with excitement. Emma exchanged another glance with Jack. "Surprise? For Lisa?" "Sure, I mean, why not?" Emma replied, unsure of where this was going. "Awesome! I've been planning this for weeks. It's going to be perfect." Emma's heart began to race again, not with concern, but with a renewed spark of hope. Ava didn't just bring flowers. She brought optimism. As Ava made her way into the kitchen, Emma caught a glimpse of Jack shifting on his feet, a mix of confusion and curiosity washing over him. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice low, but Emma could see his interest was piqued.
"Just a surprise for Mom," Emma said, feeling a grin break across her face. After a moment, Ava exited the kitchen carrying a tray filled with homemade cupcakes, each adorned with colorful frosting. "I thought these would be a nice touch for her birthday, but shh, this is just part one. The real surprise will come later." Emma settled back against the wall, her heart swelling. Maybe their efforts with the garage sale had ignited a flame, encouraging others to help lift their mother's spirits too. In that moment, Jack let out a soft laugh, realizing this little surprise brought a well-needed moment of joy. "All right then, let's get ready to celebrate," he said, his voice lightening. They spent the next hour preparing for Lisa's early birthday surprise, laughter spilling from the kitchen, warming their hearts like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Emma felt a flicker of excitement growing deep within her, surpassing the fears she had been nursing. Maybe, just maybe, this celebration was not just about cake and balloons. It was a chance to reaffirm love, to stitch families back together. As they set everything up, Jack pulled Emma aside, his expression serious again. "You think Mom will like this?" Emma nodded, her heart full. "It's more than just a party. It's a reminder that we care." Jack's eyes softened. But just as he opened his mouth to reply, the doorbell rang again. Emma exchanged a glance with him, pulse quickening. "Are more surprises coming?" she asked, half-chokingly. Without waiting for an answer, she rushed to the door, excitement bubbling up once more. But as she swung it open, the smile faded from her face. There stood a woman Emma didn't recognize, her hands clasped tightly around something small and delicate. "Hi, is this where Lisa lives?" the woman inquired, her voice trembling slightly, making Emma's heart leap into her throat. What could this stranger possibly want, and how might her presence change everything? Emma stood frozen in place, her heartbeat a thunderous echo in her ears.
The sight of the woman stirred a knot of anxiety within her. Who was she, and why was she here now? The flowers Ava had brought felt suddenly insignificant compared to this person who had appeared out of nowhere. Is your mother here? The woman pressed again, shifting her weight nervously from one foot to the other. Emma took a step back, allowing her to step inside, though she still eyed her warily. Yeah, she's in the living room, Emma replied, her voice faltering slightly. Can I ask who you are? The woman's eyes darted around the room as if searching for something familiar. I'm a friend of Lisa's. We went to school together. My name is Sarah. It felt surreal to hear that name, a name from their mother's past. Okay, what brings you here today? Emma wanted to be polite, but there was a flicker of protectiveness over her mother, and a growing apprehension about what this encounter could mean.
Surprises, I hope, Sarah said, with a hint of warmth creeping into her voice. She hesitated, her expression softening. I was hoping to reconnect after all these years, especially for her birthday. Behind Emma, she could sense Jack moving closer, drawn into the tension that thickened the air. Reconnect? He echoed, his eyebrows raised. With all due respect, Mom hasn't mentioned anything about you. I know, Sarah said gently, and I regret that. We were very close once, but life took us down different paths. I'm here to change that, if I can. Emma felt the walls of her heart begin to crack ever so slightly. Could this stranger be part of a story that was slipping through the fingers of their memories? Was there more to their mother than the hard-working woman who tended to her family every day? Jack stepped forward, his voice steadier now. What do you mean? What kind of surprise? Sarah took a deep breath, her eyes glistening. I have something for Lisa. It's a letter, a heartfelt memory I hope will remind her of the joy she's brought to others, and perhaps it will spark something beautiful in her heart again. Emma's brow furrowed as she exchanged an apprehensive glance with Jack. There was something compelling in Sarah's tone. Maybe there was a part of their mother's life that they didn't know, a hidden connection that could bring warmth back to the house. Okay, Emma said, her voice firm. You can give it to her, but she should know who you are first. Sarah nodded appreciatively, the flourish of hope in her posture palpable. Just then, Ava burst back into the room, her tray of colorful cupcakes shaking slightly in her hands. Who's this? Ava asked, her bright eyes darting between Emma, Jack, and the stranger in front of them. The mood shifted instantly. It was as if the impending surprise of cupcakes clashed with the gravity of the new arrival. This is Sarah, Emma started, but before she could finish, the door swung open again. Another surprise? The sudden interruption felt like a twist of fate, and Emma braced herself for whatever else was coming. Surprise! It's party time! A familiar voice rang out. This was not just another visitor. It was Lisa, her mother, caught unexpectedly in the moment, standing at the threshold, a backdrop of confusion swirling around her. What would she say when she saw Sarah? And how would this day unfold with secrets ready to be exposed? Emma's heart raced again, the mixture of hope and dread crashing like waves against the shore, as she held her breath, waiting for the next moment to unravel. Lisa's eyes widened as she took in the unfamiliar face in her home. The cheerful smile she wore for the party faded, transforming into a mask of surprise and confusion. Sarah? The name escaped her lips in a whisper, laced with emotion. Emma could see the flicker of recognition in her mother's eyes, followed by an avalanche of memories that only Lisa could fathom.
Lisa? Sarah breathed, stepping forward, hesitant yet hopeful. It's been so long. I didn't expect to see you like this, but I wanted— Why are you here? Lisa interrupted, her voice shaky. The words hung in the air, heavy with a mixture of curiosity and hurt. I brought you something, Sarah stammered, glancing nervously at Emma and Jack, who stood silently on either side of Ava, trying to absorb the whirlwind of emotions filling the room. A letter. It's about our friendship, the good times we had. Lisa's gaze dropped, a storm brewing in her eyes. Emma felt the tension shift. She knew her mother wasn't just a hard worker. There were chapters of her life filled with laughter, heartbreak, and choices that had shaped the woman standing before them. But now those hidden stories were surfacing in front of her children. Mom, please, maybe it's worth hearing her out, Jack said gently, trying to bridge the gap. Emma could see hesitation etched on her mother's features, the conflict between past and present pulling at her heart. With a deep breath, Lisa took a tentative step toward Sarah. You really came back just to give me a letter? There was more in her voice, a longing, an invitation to mend what was broken.
"It's more than a letter," Sarah replied, her voice swelling with sincerity. "It's about everything we shared. I want you to remember the girl you were, the dreams you had. You brought joy to so many people, Lisa." Ava, still clutching the tray of cupcakes, looked back and forth between them, her innocent enthusiasm suddenly overshadowed by the weight of the moment. "Can we open it? The letter?" she asked, her voice small. Without taking her eyes off Sarah, Lisa nodded slowly, the weariness etched into her face deepening. "All right." Sarah reached into her bag, pulling out a weathered envelope, its edges worn from time. "Here," she said, extending the letter with trembling hands. "It's from a good place. I've missed you." With hesitance, Lisa took the envelope, fingers closing around the paper like a lifeline. Emma watched as her mother's expression shifted, a mingling of sorrow and hope pinched at the corners of her mouth. Ignoring the noise of the birthday celebration bubbling just outside the room, Lisa broke the seal and unfolded the letter, her eyes scanning the familiar handwriting. Emma could almost feel the pulse of time in the room, years collapsing into this single moment, creating a bridge to their past. "What does it say?" Jack urged, the urgency in his voice mingling with the tension threatening to unravel the already fraying threads of their family's narrative. But Lisa didn't answer. Instead, tears slipped down her cheeks as she read the words, each line revealing memories Emma had never known. "Mom," Emma whispered, inching closer, a wave of anxious curiosity flooding over her. Suddenly Sarah spoke, her voice softer now. "You needed to know you're loved, Lisa. Always."
Emma felt the air thickened with emotion, the gravity of the moment drawing them all closer. Just as Lisa looked up, her face a tapestry of relief and fear, the door creaked open again. A new figure stepped in, silhouetted against the brightness of daylight. Emma's heart skipped. Could this be another surprise? The door swung open wider, casting a tall shadow that danced across the room. Emma squinted against the light and felt her heart race. Who could it be? It was Tony, her father, holding a bouquet of vibrant flowers, completely unaware of the emotional storm brewing inside. "Surprise," he chimed, his voice cheerful, beaming as he took in the scene. But then his smile faltered as he noticed the intensity on Lisa's face, the glistening tears on her cheeks, and Sarah standing near. "What's going on?" The atmosphere shifted again. It was as if time had stopped, and in that brief moment Lisa's world hung between two realities, the one in which she had been savoring the birthday celebration, and the one now standing before her, unearthing fragments of her past. "Tony," said Sarah softly, stepping slightly in front of Lisa, the flowers suddenly blooming with unspoken tension between them. "I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to reach out to Lisa." "Is that so?" Tony replied, his voice steady, although curiosity painted his features. "You came back to give her a letter? The timing's a bit unusual, don't you think?" Lisa stood frozen, the letter still clasped in her hands. Emma could see the struggle in her mother's eyes, an inner battle between the love for her family and the haunting whispers of the past. "Dad, it's complicated," Jack interjected, trying to ease the gathering storm. "It's about Mom's old friend, and it means a lot to her." Tony's gaze shifted between Lisa and Sarah, a mixture of confusion and protectiveness brewing. "It's her birthday. We were celebrating." "I know," Sarah said, breathing deeply as if to gather strength. "And I'm sorry to burst in like this. I just thought, after all this time, maybe—" "What, Sarah?" Lisa finally spoke, her voice remarkably calm for the tumult within. "What did you think would happen? That I could just ignore you? That we could pretend all those years didn't mean anything?" A pregnant pause filled the space, thick with unresolved emotions. Emma could feel the heat rising in her chest. It was uncomfortable to witness her mother in pain, yet thrilling to see her stand her ground. The atmosphere crackled like a live wire as Sarah glanced at Lisa, desperation evident in her eyes. "I wanted to reconnect, to help you remember the good times. You deserve to celebrate all parts of your life, Lisa, not just this version of yourself." Ava's small voice broke through the intensity. "Mom, can we read the letter together?" Her innocent curiosity cut through the thick tension like a knife. That simple question, so pure and earnest, reminded everyone in the room that love in all its shapes, was complicated, but also beautiful. As Lisa looked down at the letter, Emma felt a tear slip down her own cheek. She wanted her mother to experience that joy again. She wanted her mother whole. "Maybe," Lisa started, her voice wavering, "maybe I do need to hear it." Her hands trembled as she held the letter closer, fingers brushing over the familiar handwriting. A sudden resolve ignited in Emma as she realized that this moment was not just Lisa's,
It was a family affair, a chance for healing. "Let's do this together," she declared, said with more conviction than she felt. "We owe it to ourselves." But in the midst of their emotional reunion, another creak from the hallway caught Emma's attention. She turned to look, her thoughts racing. Was there more? Another surprise waiting just out of sight? "Mom, who else is coming?" Emma asked, her heart pounding with the anticipation of yet another twist in the unfolding story. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she stared at the doorway, fully expecting someone remarkable to step into the moment. Just then, the creak of the floor seemed to reverberate through the house, echoing her nervous anticipation. "Tony, is there someone else we didn't expect?" she asked again, urgency lacing her voice. She could sense the tension building in the room. "What do you mean, sweetie?" Tony looked puzzled, shifting slightly on his feet, the bouquet starting to droop in his grip like his spirits. Just then, a small figure emerged from the hallway, silhouetted by the golden light streaming in from outside. Emma squinted, the shape slowly coming into focus. It was her younger brother, Aaron, holding a small camera in his tiny hands, grinning wide enough to reveal his missing front tooth. "Surprise!" he shouted, his innocence cutting through the heaviness of the moment. Grasping the camera tightly, he continued, "I've been filming the whole party. Wait till you see what I caught on tape." Lisa blinked, shock mixing with the remnants of her earlier composure. She was caught between a moment of sheer surprise and the difficult task at hand with Sarah standing just a few feet away, still holding her breath. "Okay, buddy, enough with the camera for a second," Tony said, finally managing a smile, although Emma noticed the flicker of unease within his eyes. "We were just having an adult conversation here, you know." "But it's a birthday celebration," Aaron protested, with a childlike enthusiasm. "You said it was special. It's for Mom." "Exactly," Emma breathed, almost distractedly now, focused on her brother's excitement. "And maybe you could show us all after?" But before Aaron could respond, Sarah stepped forward, crossing her arms over her chest. "Wait a minute, are you telling me you've been recording everything? The moments? The conversations?"
It suddenly dawned on Emma that while Aaron's excitement was innocent, it had the potential to bring up memories or emotions that could turn the atmosphere volatile again. She cringed at the thought. What had he captured on that little camera? "Uh-oh," Aaron laughed, oblivious to the tension building again. "I got some pretty funny stuff, like when Dad tried to bake that surprise cake and just ended up with a big mess." Everyone chuckled lightly, momentarily breaking the ice. Tony shook his head, trying to hide his grin, but anxiety lurked in his smile. "Let me see it," Lisa said suddenly, her eyes lit with curiosity mingled with worries. "What did you catch, Aaron?" Her voice was soft but steady, almost like an invitation buried in an urging need to breathe a little easier in the chaos of the moment. "Okay," Aaron squealed. He rushed toward the nearby television set, fumbling to connect the camera's wires. "I'm going to show you the best parts." As they awaited the footage, Lisa turned to Sarah, eyes glimmering with an affectionate nostalgia, even amid her conflicted emotions. "You know, you might be surprised what we all hold on to, even if we think we've buried it." Sarah nodded slowly, a mix of hope and uncertainty on her face. Emma glanced quickly at the screen as Aaron navigated through the footage. This moment felt enormous, a bridge between the past and what lay before them. Emma squeezed her mother's hand in solidarity, feeling a surge of possibility, a reminder that joy could coexist with sorrow. Then suddenly, an image popped onto the screen. Lisa, laughing with abandon during a previous birthday, her face full of life. Everyone paused, suspended in time as they were drawn into that snapshot of happiness. "Mom, you were so happy," Aaron exclaimed, and Tony nodded, visibly affected. Tension was parting like a curtain, revealing a potential for healing. As the laughter in the room began to rise, Emma felt a shift, a spark that might illuminate the darkness that had lingered for too long. But beneath her optimism lay a caution. Other moments captured could bite back. While they navigated this burst of warmth, Emma's thoughts lingered on the letter in Lisa's hand. What other secrets did they hold? And just then, her heart raced again, a whisper of a thought. What if the next video contained something they never expected? What if Aaron had captured something so revealing it would change everything? The screen flickered, and the laughter began to fade as Aaron finally found the footage he wanted to show. He beamed proudly while Tony and Lisa exchanged looks that danced between amusement and apprehension. Emma felt her stomach twist. What memories could be lurking just below the surface? The video jumped to a moment from last year, a vibrant party filled with friends and family. There was her mother, Lisa, glowing with joy, chatting away as balloons floated in the background. Everyone was smiling, even Tony, who was handling a cake that resembled something from a culinary nightmare. The joyous scene wrapped around Emma like a warm blanket, yet she felt a hollow sadness creep in. That joy felt so far away now.
Whoa, look at Dad's attempt to bake. Aaron laughed out loud, his giggles bubbling innocence into the air. Emma glanced at Sarah, who had untangled her arms and was leaning forward, captivated. "Where's that cake now?" Sarah joked, her voice teasing, but Emma could see the subtle tension tracing her brow. "I think it's still frozen in the back of the freezer," Tony smirked, shaking his head in playful defeat. But even his smile felt tight, as if holding back unspoken words. As the video progressed, scenes shifted, revealing familiar faces, relatives exchanging birthday wishes, and inside jokes that flickered in the warmth of old friendships. Emma's heart pounded in her chest. Each smile felt like a knife, both beautiful and painful. She squeezed her mother's hand twofold, half in solidarity, half to anchor her in this whirlwind of memories. Then, in a blink, the screen changed. A darker shadow crept in as the footage captured a more somber moment. A conversation unfolded, unwittingly candid, revealing deep-seated worries and unspoken fears. Emma felt her breath hitch. They were talking about not wanting to burden Lisa, and how family could fall apart if they didn't communicate. Emma's heart raced. This wasn't the light-hearted video she was prepared for. "Oh no," she whispered, anxiety curling around her stomach. Would Aaron's innocent curiosity lead them into a minefield of unresolved tension and hurt? "Wait, stop it!" Sarah exclaimed, her voice a crescendo of panic. But it was too late. The video passed on, capturing the essence of fragile trust in the family. Emma wanted to reach out, to stop the replay of something they had struggled to overcome, but freezing time wasn't an option. "Just pause it for a second," Tony suggested, his brow furrowing. There was a gravity to his voice that resonated with everyone in the room. The carefree laughter had faded, replaced by a palpable heaviness. "Did you really record everything, Aaron?" Lisa asked tentatively, her gaze flicking to her youngest child as if searching for an innocent answer in his bright eyes. "Uh-huh. It was the best day, but I can always delete the boring moments," Aaron admitted, oblivious to the tension thickening in the air. Lisa's eyes softened and her smile faltered. "No, honey, it's not about boring moments. It's about how we move forward from this." Emma caught a glimpse of a storm brewing under the surface of their family dynamic. She felt the urgency to steer them from the path that lay ahead. But how? It was never just about reliving memories. The past carried its weight, along with a fragile hope for the future. They all stood still, a mixture of pain and the potential for healing hovering like an uninvited guest.
"Can we try to find our laughter again?" Emma murmured quietly, hoping to remind them of the reason they were gathered in the first place. But deep down, an unsettling thought gnawed at her. What if this was only the tip of the iceberg? What else had Aaron captured that they weren't ready to face? The video continued to play, revealing their family in shades they weren't prepared to confront. Emma could almost hear the beating of her heart echoing against the walls. Would they embrace the revelations or push them away? The question loomed as the screen flickered in anticipation of what might come next. And just as she thought it couldn't get any more intense, another clip flashed on the screen, one with a familiarity that sent shivers down her spine. What did it hold? As the new clip began to unfold, Emma's breath hitched in her throat. The scene shifted to her parents standing in the living room, the subtle light of a late afternoon filtering through the curtains. It was a time capsule of warmth, a snapshot of them before the tides turned. Emma felt her heart race. What could be lurking in this moment of happiness? Her mother looked radiant, her hair cascading softly over her shoulders, while Tony stood beside her, shifting nervously. "You ready for this?" he asked, a flicker of excitement sparkling in his eyes. Emma leaned closer, straining to decipher the unmarked emotions swirling between them. The camera zoomed in on Tony as he pulled out a small wrapped box. Her mom's eyes widened, reflecting a mixture of delight and surprise that dared to pierce the suffocating anxiety hovering over Emma's thoughts. "No way! What is it?" Lisa's voice rang out from the screen, vibrant and eager, the way she used to sound before the weight of worry shadowed her smile. Emma's heart thudded with misplaced joy, almost wishing it could translate into their current reality. The moment Tony presented the gift, a rare moment of carefree laughter echoed through the room, the kind that used to fill their house, but now felt like a memory from someone else's life. And as Lisa unwrapped the box to reveal a bracelet, delicate, shimmering gold adorned with tiny charms, their smiles lit up the screen. "It's got all our kids' initials on it," Tony explained, his voice soft and loving. "You said you wanted something to represent our family." "I love it," Lisa exclaimed, her eyes misting over. Emma felt something shift within her, a small crack in the cloud of tension that dared her to believe in hope again.
But then the camera jolted again. As Tony and Lisa embraced, the image began to fade into something darker. The sound of muffled voices began to play, barely audible. They were arguing about finances, stress piling up with every word. Emma's heart sank. This was the unraveling. Their fears spilled over into a world filled with love, choking the joy that had once been so easy to express. Why did you keep this?
Emma whispered, her voice barely a ghostly echo in the room, crossing the line between present and past. She turned to Aaron, who was still transfixed by the screen, oblivious to the hidden turmoil now pouring from the clips. "It's all genuine," he replied, a childlike wonder painting his tone. "This is who we are." "Maybe who we used to be," Sarah murmured, her brow furrowed as she tried to make sense of the conflicting emotions blooming in front of them. Emma felt the walls start to close in around her. "But we can't just live in these memories. We need to figure things out," she said, her voice full of urgency. "What if it's too late?" Tony's voice broke in, the weight of worry filling the space where laughter used to be. "No," Emma replied, her heart racing. "We have to believe we can change things. We have to find a way to talk, really talk." The flickering screen showed another moment, another glimpse of her parents laughing, living, loving. But could they bridge the gap back to that place? Emma's gaze swept across their faces, her mother's sadness, her father's concern, and Aaron's innocence. The possibilities clashed painfully before her. The next clip flashed, a family moment, chaotic and loud, filled with their childish laughter. But something felt different this time. Was it possible to rediscover the feelings she thought were lost? Or would they only unearth secrets better left buried? Just as the laughter echoed in the background, the screen went dark. And in that poignant silence, Emma felt a sense of dread settle in her chest. What was it that they hadn't seen yet? What would the next revelation unveil? As the screen dimmed to black, the tension that filled the room became palpable, wrapping around them like a suffocating embrace. Emma held her breath, heart pounding as questions danced dangerously in the air. Was there more to come? What had Aaron captured that could break or mend them? "Exciting stuff, huh?" Aaron chirped, innocence untouched by the heaviness that cocooned the rest of them. He didn't grasp the magnitude of emotions gathered at that moment, but his cheerful stupidity illuminated a flicker of light amidst the shadows. Lisa's face flickered with perplexity, as if she were standing between two worlds, one filled with laughter, love, and vibrant memories, the other darker and winding, packed with worries they had kept hidden. Emma squeezed her mother's hand tighter, silently urging her to break through. "Can we take a moment?" Lisa suddenly asked, her voice steady but quivering, exhaling a breath she had been holding. Yes, please," Emma said, feeling buoyed with a spark of encouragement that surged through her body. She would fight for this family. Turning to Sarah, Lisa spoke with a newfound vulnerability. "You brought back old memories. I wasn't ready for the influx of feelings. Times got tough, and I shut that part of myself away." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes, not just for herself, but for the friend she had come to seek after all these years. "I know life pulled us apart, Lisa, but I hated to see you lose that spark. You were always the heart of our group." "Those were happy memories," Lisa replied softly, blinking back tears. "But real life happened, you know? Responsibilities and struggles. Somehow I lost who I used to be. Maybe it's time to find her again? Not alone, but together," Emma stated boldly, taking a step forward, feeling the weight of conviction leak from her heart to the room. "I love you, Mom. We all do. You can't carry this alone." The air shifted as Jack nodded, his earlier hesitation fading into unwavering support. "Whatever it takes, Lisa. We're a family. We will figure this out together." As Lisa turned to Tony, her eyes softened, the waves of pain and love crashing over her like waves in the ocean. "We've been so caught up in surviving that I didn't realize how much I pushed us all away, and I'm so sorry." Tony stepped forward, tension in his shoulders uncoiling. "I admit, I got lost in my worries too. We need to communicate. We can't let the weight of the world tear us apart anymore." "Let's look ahead together," Emma encouraged, feeling connected to each person in the room. "We can reclaim the laughter and even the tears. It's all part of our story." And it was in that exact moment, amidst the high stakes and tangled histories, that the flicker of hope ignited into flames.
The darkness that once clouded their interactions began to disperse as laughter slowly trickled back, a resilience threading through each conversation. "Okay, shall we try something crazy?" Lisa finally asked, a tentative smile creeping onto her lips. "Let's make new memories, starting with cupcakes." "Cupcakes with a side of reconnecting. I like it," Jack grinned, the lightness returning to his voice. The mood brightened, shifting like the sun breaking through after a storm. Laughter mingled with the sense of frosting and sprinkles as Emma, Aaron, and Ava rushed to assist with the cake preparations. Heartbeats harmonized in anticipation, siblings coming together, reclaiming joy. Lisa caught Sarah's eye, gauging her reaction. "This doesn't mean goodbye to the past. It just means we're ready to embrace what tomorrow holds." Sarah nodded, a tear of joy slipping down her cheek. "I'm here for you, Lisa, eager to support your journey back to yourself. We all grow and change, and I want to be part of yours again." As the room filled with voices and the clatter of pots and pans, Emma caught her mother's gaze one more time. There was a depth to her eyes, full of understanding and acceptance. "I'm proud of us," Lisa whispered, almost to herself, but loud enough for Emma to hear. "Me too," Emma beamed, the knot in her stomach loosening. "Mom, you'll shine again."
Moments later, the screen flickered back to life, showcasing joyous snapshots from the past interlaced with clips from the present, celebrating birthdays both lived and those yet to come, an embodiment of everything they were working toward reclaiming. At the end of the night, as the last candle was blown out and cupcakes devoured, Emma felt a sense of peace wrap around her family. They weren't fixed. No one was asking for perfection. Instead, they were whole in their imperfection, connected through love, laughter, and shared memories. A new chapter awaited, rich with possibilities, ready to be written. But outside the door, echoes of distant laughter drifted away, moments of joy floating into the night. Moments that Emma hoped would linger long after the candles burned down, reminding them of their strength and their resilience. And just like that, Emma felt it, the beginning of a beautiful transition, moving away from shadows toward the light. So join them in this journey if you believe in love, community, and transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for our stories and the incredible transformations. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the amazing content coming your way. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. You know we love hearing from you. And don't wait, not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can keep the positivity overwhelming.